Sharon.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. I am calling to order the July 22nd meeting of the Chesapeake Beach Ethics Commission at 1 p.m. We're doing this online, but it's being recorded. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag
of the United
States
of
America
and to the
republic
for which it
stands,
one
nation,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the June 24th meeting. These were sent out by Sharon. Does anyone have any questions or objections or corrections?
No.
No.
Hearing none, they are approved. Oh, did I? I don't know if I said at the outset that we're starting the meeting at 1 p.m. on the 22nd. Okay. Review of any disclosures made or revised since the June 24th meeting. I'm trying to think. The only thing I can think of right now is Councilmember Fink gave us what we asked him to put his real estate on 2 sheets of paper. Does everyone agree that he has totally complied with the reporting requirements?
I agree.
Yes.
Okay. I guess we did it as a motion. All in favor of finding that Mr. Fink has complied with the reporting requirements indicate by saying aye.
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 All right, ayes have it. Did anyone else do anything? Did we receive anything else from anybody? I don't think we. The only thing that's outstanding is Mr. Cumbo. He didn't respond to my request. My feeling is that it was his failure to make a disclosure at the time he left was our fault for not informing him then. And I'm reluctant to, try an enforcement action. Is anyone eager to continue the Cumbo question?
Not necessarily. I guess at this point it's water under the bridge and maybe a lesson learned for us.
Yeah, Mike?
Yeah, I concur.
Right. We're going to have to work with Holly. Well, we'll figure it out. We have to figure out some way of enforcing both the, when you get appointed to a position and when you leave a position, you have reporting requirements, and we've got to figure out a way of informing the people. Now, one of the things we'll get to it. I'm going to suggest we add to the training package that I put together. There should be a page on that saying, April every year, and if you've been appointed during the year, you have to, do a disclosure, and if you leave during the year, you have to do a disclosure. But beyond that, we ought to figure out some way to have something automatic happen when when someone takes a job or gets appointed to the council. Okay, but if people would think about that over the next month, that would be good.
It seems like that can be incorporated into the whole HR paperwork signing process when somebody comes and goes.
Yeah. Ingrid, would you feel comfortable, drafting a paragraph or something that we could
sure
send to Holly?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. And so, but when people get into a job and when they leave, it's part of it. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
All right. Now we are on the proposed changes to the Ethics Commission training manual for appointed officials and managers, which I sent out, I guess, last week. As I say, I would add a page at the beginning of the financial disclosures, which is at page 29, telling them, informing people what the deadlines are. Does anyone else have any changes?
I think I saw, it looked like maybe somebody had made a couple of changes. Phil, could we just kind of walk through it page by page quickly? Is that a problem?
Okay, that's not a problem with me. Okay, got cover page, then agenda. Help me if we put page numbers here, but we'll deal with that. I can deal with that. All right, so the first item is background and overview, and that I did not change anything. That's pages 4, 5.
Phil, actually on page 2, we have a numbering, just a quick little numbering thing. We've got 1 is background and overview, and then we jump to 3.
Okay, I see it now.
Disclosure, and then 4.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just put in Roman numeral 2 before at conflicts of interest. Thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Okay,
Good.
so the background and overview, and then the corruption has always been illegal. So then on page 5, the demanding or accepting bribes.
Yeah.
We've got the 1, 2, and then we go to penalty, which is still lined up with 1 and 2. Do we need a 3 or do we need something different there?
No, we need to move it to the left.
Right. That's what, or correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we'll do.
Okay. And then we've got the legislative origins. And let's see, the purposes.
Now, this is new. We've changed the purposes. This updates it to the 2020 ordinance.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Then we go to conflicts of interest. And we've got the 3 types of provisions here. And then we walk through each of those. Okay, participation restrictions. Let me see. Okay. Then on page 13, we're still in the participation area.
Yeah.
There's a couple little typos in there, misspellings, and then the spacing issue.
Okay.
So on that first line, we need to move the any matter over.
Yes, okay, yeah.
And then the third line, I think we want ownership interest.
Hold on. Yes.
Okay. Then 2 more lines down, we need an H for the town.
Picky, picky, picky.
Then the third arrow.
Wait, actually, hold on. After interest, it should say, except if the effect applies.
Any matter that would affect the value of real estate in which the covered person or close relative has an ownership interest, except if the effect applies generally to real estate throughout the town or a neighborhood or a section of the town. Okay. Any matter that would affect the value of an entity in which a person has a direct financial, or for example, as a shareholder, matters in which a close relative of the official or place of. Okay. And then matters just needs to be pulled over.
Okay, yep.
And then we're at parties. Let's see. Has a direct, is an employee, is negotiating, has a contract, owes money to, or has guaranteed someone else's debt to. We have 2 kind of hanging out there, Phil.
Sure do.
Can we?
Yes. Let me see what the actual ordinance says.
Okay.
This is participation regarding. Yeah, I meant, this is one of those paragraphs that's required by the state, and I certainly never understood what it meant. Contract with... Negotiating employment. Yeah, I can't find it now.
Okay, but
Okay.
we just need to kind of finalize that.
Yeah.
No, we haven't. I wasn't sure if you left something out. There's another arrow hanging down there.
I don't know. I'll put a big question mark there.
Okay.
And you know, I don't think this is something I changed. So I'll go back to it's section 2520 of the current ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually, the current ordinance certainly changed some language. So I will send out today a revision of page 14.
Okay.
Right.
So let's see if we can go on here. I think 15 looks fine, and 16. Then on 17, just to tighten things up a little bit,
Yep.
the no bribes and gifts page.
Yeah.
Just in terms of consistency, we have no covered person can accept gifts from someone. Should be who is doing business.
Yeah.
Who has financial interest, who is engaged, and then we capitalize the W with all three of them.
Okay, we'll do.
All right. All right. Whoops, wait a minute. I just jumped to something. Exceptions. I think exceptions looks fine.
I hope.
And then we've got the continuation page there. Exceptions to the exceptions. I love it.
Yeah. I hate
Should
it.
that other exception be capitalized, Phil? We have up there in the title, just a suggestion.
I don't care. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Then the financial interest, again, should the financial and the interest be capitalized along with employment?
No, actually, no, I think there's no I mean, I'm capitalizing the first word.
That's fine. I'm just throwing it out there for your consideration.
Yeah. Okay.
No big deal. So then we're at financial interests, and then, okay, I think that looks good. We're in post-employment and contingent compensation and participation in procurement. And there we've got the submit or the assist are not capitalized, but the is.
Okay, yeah, so why don't we capitalize submit and assist?
Yep, that way we're consistent.
Yeah.
And then on 27, we go through the disclosure. And
Can I go back?
Sure.
Participation in procurement.
Yeah.
Note that the third indented arrow, or triangle, that is not part of the may not. That is commission's authority to establish exemptions. So you should probably move that arrow back out.
To the left. Okay.
Yep. Good catch, Fred.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Let's see. So financial disclosures.
Now, all right, well, first of all, at this point, at that page, we have to add the deadlines, right?
Yes.
Page that says
Yep.
timetable. Okay. The other thing, the state mandates disclosures that are some are financial and some aren't. I guess I'm not asking to change the title now, but if somebody, maybe financial and other disclosures.
Yeah, that would probably be more comprehensive, wouldn't it?
Well, does anyone object? I'll write that in. Okay. Okay. Then we want to make sure page 30, which is radically new, is correct.
Well, Phil, before you go back to the prior page.
Yeah.
To the right, it says click to add subtitle.
What page are you on, Fred?
I'm on financial disclosures and other disclosures, or financial, the one we just talked about. To the right, there's a box that says click to add subtitle.
Really? I don't see it.
I don't see it either. I see a box, but it's empty.
Okay. All right, I just clicked and that text went off, and now it's just a box that can be typed in. Okay,
well, I think if we don't type anything in, it prints out as blank. So you're looking at it on your computer, Fred?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I think what happens is when it's printed, it's just blank. It doesn't say you can, click to add subtitle.
Okay. So disregard what I said. Don't worry about it.
Okay. Okay, is page 30 look accurate? And by the way, if everyone says, well, it looks accurate, and then you discover a mistake tomorrow or next week, anytime before we do the training, just tell me.
Will do.
Will do.
On page 31,
yeah,
I see that there's a big number 2 to the left. What's that for?
That's for, that's
so that's just the continuation, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
But maybe I should put on the bottom of 30, continued on next page.
Or just on 31, put in parens continued.
Oh, wait a minute, okay. Oh. So instead of the 2, paren continued?
Yes, I think is a little clearer.
Yeah, it is. All right, and the paragraphing on 31 is inconsistent, has to be taken care of.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, 32 is unchanged. I think on the third box, the parenthetical should come out.
Penalty is up to 10 years imprisonment prosecuted by the state. Lesser penalties. Lesser penalties if the matter is pursued by the SEC rather than this. Yeah, that it's not very clear, Phil.
Yeah.
What's in friends?
Yeah, why don't we just take that out, at least for now. Maybe somebody can suggest a replacement for what's currently parenthetical.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we've got to communicate. Because that's interesting. I don't know what the answer is. I don't think. What happens if we find somebody has lied on the disclosure?
I thought we could find them.
We can fine them. No, it's only for, that's $2 a day for failure to timely. Now, what we have is this thing, we investigate. If we determine that there's a reasonable basis for believing a conflict, we attempt to resolve the matter informally. And then if that fails, we may petition the court to enforce. And that would then, maximum fine is $5,000. Except then we have each day that a violation continues to constitute a separate offense. So, all right. I will, unless somebody else does it, I will try to draft a replacement this afternoon or tomorrow.
Okay.
Are we on public record now?
Yeah. No, aren't they available online?
I think they are, aren't they?
Sharon?
Don't we say that in the rules of procedure too?
I think on there it says that you can contact the town clerk at such and such if you wanted to review any disclosure.
Okay, so they're not actually online right now?
Yeah, no,
Okay, well then that's what we'll leave this as it is until we change that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, 35 or?
So were we appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the council?
Hold on, let's see. The current appointed by the mayor with the approval of the council.
Right.
I'll add that. Approval of the council. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? Let's see. The functions I didn't change.
So Phil, just one quick question. Are we remedying the violations? Is that the right word there?
Where?
It's that last bullet point. We devise forms, we review submitted disclosures, we provide advisory opinions, we recommend changes.
Okay.
But we're...
Yeah, wait a minute. Let's...
Ingrid, where are you?
On the
I'm on
last
page
line
35.
On 35.
The Ethics
Okay.
Commission, what our functions
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, that's
Well, you are attempting to remedy violation by seeking informal resolution. You're not conducting hearings or making final determinations of wrongdoing because you decided you didn't want to get into that business. Yeah. But you are attempting to remedy violations. You have that authority.
Okay, just was questioning.
Is correct, would it be attempt to correct violations better?
Well, no, because the commission is not attempting to correct them. You're trying to remedy violations or seek voluntary compliance.
Yeah, I think I like that word compliance. Attempt to address violations and seek compliance or something.
Or attempt to address violations.
Yes, there you go.
Well, we don't need attempt there. Just say address violations or apparent violations.
There you go. Even better.
Yeah.
Violations. Okay.
Unfortunately, my court can. My town manager.
Okay, page 36.
I think we got it covered, don't we?
Okay. All right, I'll make the revisions. I think it's simpler to send out a whole new, all 36 pages again, rather than just the pages I make the changes on. Unless somebody prefers that.
No, whatever's easier for you, Phil.
Okay, I appreciate that. That will be done today or tomorrow. What day is it? Yeah, today's Wednesday. Okay, that's, for the record, there's no further changes being suggested by members of the commission. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, revision of the rules of procedure. Now, everyone should have two documents that look the same on the front page, unfortunately. One is what I'd sent out, and the other
is Fred's comments.
Yeah. So I'm going to just look at Fred's. All right, so on page 3, question is whether we accept, we will make advisory opinions requested by someone who's not involved in the matter.
Yeah. Phil, can I, on each one of these, tell you what my question was or what my thinking was?
Yep.
Here, first of all, you say any person subject to the ethics ordinance may request an advisory opinion. Is there any ambiguity or lack of clarity as to what subject to the ordinance means? And I think you need to think about what the implications are if you have somebody, an employee who is obligated to file a financial disclosure form. Well, no, let's strike that, because really any town employee or official is subject to conflict of interest requirements. So really that's anybody who's an official or employee by the town may request an advisory opinion, whether or not the requester is involved in the matter. So we've talked about this before. We said we would revisit it, when you got around to revising the rules. And this is really a matter of policy, whether you want anybody employed by or an official of the town to be able to request an advisory opinion regarding potential conduct by anybody else in the town. And that's really, it's a policy question for you all.
Okay, and what I want to do, and this is a change from the current policy. I've had conversations with people people come to me and said, is it legal that so-and-so is doing such and such, right? And I say, well, I can't give an opinion. And then that's it. It seems to me that, let's say, the mayor or Holly or a whistleblower, thinks that Councilman Smith is participating in matters to his own financial benefit.
So Phil, is that an advisory opinion, or is that right to the level of the complaint?
You're right.
Because of conduct that's already occurred.
No, you're right. Okay, so he's afraid the mayor is afraid that a council member is going to do what the council member says he's going to do next week or next month. And the mayor wants us to provide an advisory opinion, even though the council member prefers not to get an advisory opinion. And, you know, remember, we can throw out anything, frivolous requests. But I mean, one of the questions that I have, you know, in section E, a question came up. If somebody asked me whether it's legal for a council member to vote on the budget of let's say the water park, given the fact that his or her child works for the water park, right? Now, if that council member doesn't ask for an advisory opinion, I would still think we'd want to give one.
I agree.
Okay, I'm not opposed to the, to the policy. I just, think it's appropriate that the commission discuss it, make a conscious decision, and think about the, slippery slope you might be going on in terms of, the wide range of, people who could seek an advisory opinion regarding potential conduct by somebody else. Yeah.
So we will, here, two things. One is we can throw out apparently frivolous things. The other thing is if, in fact, during the next 12 months or 6 months or any time, we get flooded by, advisory opinion requests, we can change the rules again.
Thank you.
What
That's true, because we can change them at any given time.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the second sentence, all you have to do is you can say all such relevant requests, and just put the word relevant in there, and then it makes the commission to have the decision whether it's a relevant request or, not. So, that way you can get away from frivolous issue.
Okay, so we're using the word relevant in the sense of non-frivolous.
Yep.
Okay. Now, I'll tell you what, I think that's taken care of in paragraph 4. First sentence.
That's true.
Exactly.
All right, so I'm not going to add the word relevant. It's just,
the
request goes to put in writing, and then in paragraph 4, we decide whether anything
right
done.
Yep.
Which, in fact, I think we did at least once last year. Well,
yes.
Yeah, what we've done, and I don't know if we should address it in writing. What we've done is we've sent the requester a demand for information. No, that was in a complaint. No, well, anyhow, okay. It's implicit here that one of the things we can do when we get a complaint is ask, a request for an advisory opinion, is ask the requester for additional information, as in what section of the ordinance do you think may be violated if something happens? I'll just leave it as it is.
I would leave it as it is. I think that's pretty clear.
Yep.
All right, and in paragraph 2, we'll reword it to say, make clear that means any employee or appointed or elected official of the town, right? Not just, I have it, the current is vaguely subject to the ethics ordinance. I think Fred's saying be fairer and clearer if we point out that that means any employee.
We can't go wrong by more specificity.
Yeah, okay, I will do that. Okay, there's a comma Fred is demanding. Oh, okay, we'll take it out. You know, actually, you know, that is important. I hate it when I'm reading sloppy writing. And
I didn't say it was sloppy writing, Phil. Believe me.
well, it is sloppy. You can't have a comma before a. Oh, wait, hold on. Will endeavor to respond in a timely fashion, normally within 60 days. I actually do want a comma. If we take the parenthetical clause out, then we do want a comma.
Yes.
What's wrong is comma, parentheses. Now we're going to leave that comma in.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, leave the comma in. It's not even I can't see. It's not even highlighted. It doesn't look highlighted on my screen.
Oh, well, it's clearly on the printed.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, page 4. What were you trying to do on taking the word as, the second?
As well as.
Yeah, percent.
Well as additional.
Issue, comma. I must have been sleeping.
Okay.
Yeah, so that does make sense.
Yes, to put it in there.
Pardon? Maybe I put it in.
Yep, as well as additional testimony regarding the advisory opinion request.
Yeah, I don't think the word "as" is in the rules.
Oh, in my draft. Okay, hold on a second.
It wasn't in Fred's.
You are correct. Okay, so the word "as" is added.
Correct.
Yep. Okay. Okay, good.
Okay. On paragraph 7,
yeah.
No problem with conducting an open or closed session, but my question is, we're in the last sentence of that paragraph, the opinion itself shall be public with the names and other identifying information redacted. If it's an open session proceeding, why would you want to or need to redact the names and identifying information of people who have already been discussed in open session?
Very good question.
Was that sentence tied to the closed? It says, if requested, oh, wait a minute. The request of the person the commission may close the session. Is that what you were thinking there, Phil? Maybe time that last sentence to the closed session?
Hold on a second. Let me look at, I'm looking at the law again. No, right, the ordinance itself doesn't say anything about redaction. Was it just in previous, oh, well, you know, okay, so I think paragraph 7 is the current procedures that we adopted a couple of years ago, right? And we didn't think about the point Fred's raising. So the question, first question is, I don't know.
And again, Phil, there's a difference policy-wise between an advisory opinion and a complaint.
Yes, yes.
A complaint is an allegation of wrongdoing, and that's supposed to be confidential unless there's a finding of wrongdoing. On the other hand, an advisory opinion is seeking guidance going forward for a particular individual, for or on behalf of a particular individual. So, you know, and it's not a finding or an accusation that somebody has done anything wrong, just how should this person act in the future? So it may, there are reasons why you may not want to have the identifying information confidential. But again, policy question for the board, for the commission. And this ties in with my highlight on number 9. Same issue.
Yeah.
Well, can we do, going back to 7, can we just make a comma and say if necessary, or if desirable, the opinion shall itself be public with the names and others identifying information redacted, comma, if
such redaction is in the public interest?
Something along those lines. Can't we do it that way?
Well, we're being redundant here. If
right, and that's why
let's take the last sentence of 7 out, and its thoughts is then covered in the proposed changes in 9.
But there in 9, aren't we saying we're redacting everything, or the names?
Okay, so what do we say? With, if possible, redaction sufficient to prevent the disclosure of the identity of the people mentioned in it.
So it sounds like all of them, all the approved advisory opinions are being redacted.
Yeah, yes. That's right. If we adopt the proposed change in 9, then we're saying, yeah, if possible, we just say, council member blank requested an opinion on whether he or she could provide paid entertainment on the town-sponsored boat rides.
Why do we want to do that?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
And isn't it?
I'll tell you here. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, isn't it the public interest for the public to know who is asking for an opinion, and to know that, for instance, an elected official or appointed official is acting ethically by trying to scope out his or her obligations or responsibilities ahead of time before acting?
I agree. I totally agree.
Yeah, okay, you guys, everyone is set. My initial feeling is I don't want to do anything that would deter someone from asking for an advisory opinion on his or her own things. And you guys are saying that no, it would, by not redacting, you are actually encouraging people to use the process.
Yeah, right? Phil, I'm not taking a position one way or another, believe me. That's your commission job to decide the policy. I'm just trying to raise this issue for discussion.
Yeah.
Right.
And I can see it going both ways. But I think you ought to be consistent one way or another. Either you're going to redact or you're not going to redact. And it may not be so much an issue of redaction as how the opinion is written, so as not to include names or other identifying information to the extent feasible.
It seems like we need to think some more about this and discuss it some more as to what we want and why we want it.
Okay, so here's the deal. Then what I propose today is we leave paragraphs 7 and 9 as they are in the current rules, and we can vote next month on on changes. Think through what changes ought to be made.
Sounds good.
Okay. No change. Okay. Good.
Okay.
Okay. Page 5.
Yeah.
But wait a minute. There's something at the bottom of 4.
Oh, I didn't see it. Hold on.
Or was that, no, I'm sorry, my mistake. That we just, you changed that. And
Yeah,
just said we can file it by email or letter. That's
Yeah.
fine, sorry.
Okay, the reason I highlighted paragraph 5 because that is essentially duplicative of paragraph 14. So I think one or the other ought to be removed, unless you all see material difference between them.
Oh, isn't that funny? Hold on. And these, both 5 and 14 are the current language. Wow.
I think I probably like 14 better, but that's your choice.
Well, yeah, I agree. I like 14 better also.
I do
okay,
too.
I think we should add to 14. The commission will not act on the complaint until advised by the state's attorney that doing so will not interfere with the potential criminal prosecution.
Sounds good.
Well, what it does say in 14 is that the commission shall suspend further proceedings and forward all information required to that authority.
So, well,
you could add a sentence something like the commission shall defer further proceedings until the prosecutorial authority has concluded its proceedings.
Okay. My feeling at the moment is let's not vote on any of this today. Let's, send out another draft. Because we just said somebody has to take 10 minutes at a computer to rewrite 14 so that it contains its current thoughts and the fact that we would not act on the complaint. But until the state's attorney tells us we can.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a big fat question mark on that. But in any event, the next draft will eliminate the current paragraph 5. Okay. And then, Fred, you have on page 5, 7C.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what my comment was there. C is the same as, there's a duplication.
Yeah, there's 2 of them.
Oh. Well, there's 2 C's.
Yeah.
And they're identical.
Identical. Okay, well, shall we vote on which one? All right, that's again the sort of correction that's very useful.
Okay, another useful one, Phil, is at the top of page 6. With this revision, there's nothing saying when a respondent is notified of the complaint, and the first sentence should be, the first clause should be, when does the respondent file a response to the complaint, and also when is the respondent notified of the complaint.
Okay, I will draft something to answer those questions.
And probably put it in the appropriate sequence.
Yeah.
Coming down to, well, we already talked about 14.
Yeah.
15. This gets to the question of whether the commission is making final decisions, the violations of the ordinance occurred or didn't occur, because you're not having hearings or anything.
We're not having a hearing, and
you're not acting as a deliberative body.
Oh, you're right. All right, that's just another one that has to be rewritten.
And the last comment is there needs to be consistency in capitalization.
Yeah,
some
you're right.
Commission is capital C, some lowercase c, and there may be a couple other terms that are used throughout that have different capitalization.
Okay, well,
so that concludes my comments.
They're all very useful and will be addressed successfully. Okay, so we'll put this on the agenda for next meeting. And, you know, Mike and Ingrid and Fred and Sharon, please look through the damn rules yourselves and see if there's anything else that ought to be changed in light of our experience the last 2 or 3 years.
Will do.
Okay. Moving on to E, address the following issues, possibly including issuing advisory opinions. Let me see where. I'll find my drafts. All right. Shoot. All right, so the first one is we actually decided last month, but I think we should have an advisory opinion that's on our website saying, a covered person cannot raise funds for his or her favorite charity.
Well, so I think when I read what you've written, Phil, my question was, what does it mean to be engaging in fundraising? I think the prohibition is against a covered employee or official actually soliciting gifts.
Okay.
There's nothing, is there anything wrong with a covered official working in the office or stuffing envelopes or doing things that don't involve interaction with the public or potential donees?
Donor.
Donor is correct, I'm sorry.
Okay, so why don't we, instead of rewriting it, we prohibits interpret filing language as prohibiting covered officials from soliciting gifts on behalf of nonprofit organizations, including charities.
Yeah, that's better. Let me tell you, I represented somebody who was accused by the Anne Arundel County Ethics Commission years ago. Again, it was the head of a county quasi-county agency, and it was the annual bus tour where they solicited developers for contribution to underwrite the bus tour. And signed letters of solicitation from John Doe, Executive Director. Well, the Ethics Commission decided that was a violation, but the way to get around that is to make the solicitation on behalf of the government entity. The town of Chesapeake Beach will be doing such and such, and solicits your participation. And not have it signed by somebody, by a particular individual. I think that would be okay.
Okay, here's how I would rewrite the first paragraph. The commission decided that henceforth it will interpret the following language as prohibiting covered officials from soliciting gifts or facilitating the solicitation of a gift on behalf of nonprofit charitable organizations.
What do you mean, Phil? What do you mean by facilitating the solicitation of a gift?
That's the language of the current ordinance.
Ah, okay.
The error in my draft was to rewrite the language, and we're safe. You know, we can just safely use the language.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, is this okay? Does anyone have any objection to our adopting this and issuing it as an advisory opinion?
Just one quick question. Are we saying nonprofit and charitable organizations?
No, you know, okay, what I have is made up. I'm saying you can't do it on behalf of an organization which is nonprofit and charitable.
Because you know, they kind of reflect different kinds of organizations. You know, you have nonprofits that are not charitable.
Yes.
Do we just say charitable organizations?
Or say nonprofit or charitable organizations?
Yeah, I think you need to cover both.
Okay. How about the or then?
Okay.
And then in the first line, we need to say too, a covered person may not solicit any gift for him or herself, himself or herself.
Huh, is that right? Wait a minute. I'm sure you're right, but hold on. A little bit, where are we? Gifts.
I mean, it should be that, because we go back down 2 lines down and we say could condition his or her position.
Yeah, but I'm quoting. I got to let's see what's in the actual law.
Right.
Where are we? Where is gifts? That's participation. 27A. Whoops. Yeah, it is himself or herself. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
So Phil, could you read what we've got now after all these changes?
Yep. Okay. First paragraph reads, at its June 24th, 2020 meeting, the Chesapeake Beach Ethics Commission decided that henceforth it will interpret the following language of the ethics ordinance as prohibiting covered officials from soliciting gifts or facilitating the solicitation of gifts on behalf of nonprofit or charitable organizations. Then indented section 2527A. A covered person may not solicit any gift for himself or herself, nor directly solicit or facilitate the solicitation of a gift on behalf of another person. And then the third paragraph's unchanged. The first paragraph, I shouldn't say prohibiting covered officials, because it's employees as well.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Officials and employees.
Prohibiting town officials and employees.
Okay, is that okay with everyone?
What do we mean by plain language?
Well, I think that once I looked at it carefully, it seems clear that you can't solicit gifts on behalf of anybody else, including the End Hunger in Calvert County.
Yeah, Ingrid, plain language means it's not ambiguous.
Okay.
Even though none of us interpreted it. You know, that's...
The words mean what they say.
Okay. With all these changes, we'll issue this as an advisory opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, and the next one is, oh yeah, the budget votes. Now, this was I think a suggestion from Councilmember Bodine last meeting. Certainly she raised it as an issue.
Yes.
And Councilmember Favre, he's still here?
Yes, I'm still on.
Okay. Oh, of course, you don't have the text in front of you. The question is this, and the actual question that Valerie asked was this. Her daughter works for the water park. She sees herself as being required, and happily so, to recuse herself on any votes on the budget of the water park, right? Question she has is, well, then after, you know, that's been decided, the other members of the council have voted, you know, $200,000 for the water park or whatever, and that's part of the budget. At some point, the entire budget comes before the council. And can she vote on the overall budget? And what I'm suggesting, and I also suggest we not try to vote on this today, is that we suggest the mayor and council adopt the following practice. And it says, it may happen that the mayor or a member of the council will recuse himself or herself from participating in the discussion of a particular budget item, such as a grant to an entity or the budget of a particular town function. In those cases, when the overall budget normally would come for a vote, it will be divided into two parts. One containing the particular budget item which led to the recusal, and the other, the entire rest of the budget. In that way, the official can properly participate in discussion and voting on all matters except the particular item as to which there is a conflict of interest. I wonder, I guess maybe the most efficient thing would be to send something like this as a draft to the mayor and ask him to distribute it to the council and ask for their comments.
I agree.
I agree.
I don't know whether it's realistic or not, for one thing.
Yeah, we should have their input, Phil.
Yeah. All right, what I'll do is I will weaken the first paragraph where it says, respectfully suggests the mayor and council adopt the following practice. I'll rewrite something that says, if this question has arisen and we'd like the thoughts of the mayor and council.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's a fair suggestion, because that's something, I mean, I mentioned it briefly before, but that's, you know, voting on the budgets is really probably one of our most, if not the most important aspects of what we do. And, you know, certainly if there is a real or perceived conflict, then a member shouldn't be, you know, issuing a vote or on that particular point. But, you know, in a case like an example like you just mentioned, you know, that would, if that occurred, that would be a very, very small part of the overall budget itself, that it would, you know, kind of be a travesty not to be able to vote on a full budget,
right?
Because of a very minor, you know, perceived or real, you know, conflict of interest in a single line item.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see if that. Well, yeah, we'll get the feelings of everybody. Whether, yeah, I suppose someone could argue that there's no conflict of interest in voting on the overall budget that includes one's child's.
Right. Well, you know, in that example, you know, we really don't or vote on salaries, for instance, or employment. So that really wouldn't come up. You know, I think that scenario wouldn't come up in a budget vote anyway. But you know, to the point, there certainly are opportunities where something that, you know, there may be, again, a real or perceived conflict of interest is part of a budget, that may be amended or discussed in an amendment, and that would be appropriate, in my opinion, not to vote on the amendment, but the overall budget. I personally feel that that council members should continue to do their their duty and vote on the overall.
Okay.
And let me, if I may, would a way to deal with this, an alternate way to deal with this, is to require at the time of voting on the overall budget a statement of potential conflict by the affected person, and statement of potential conflict, but why they're voting in favor on the budget as a whole.
Well, okay, that's one of the alternatives. Yeah.
All right, just a thought.
Yeah. Let's. I am trying. Yeah. Part of
the
this
other option is that you can bundle your budget into the areas where there's a potential conflict of interest, and then put everything else into a bundle where they vote.
Yeah.
Effectively, 95% is voted in the overall budget, and then the 3 or 4 items that may be potential conflict are voted separately. And effectively, you have your entire budget voted, and people recuse themselves. Or
in our practice, and not to say that it'll always be this way, but in our practice, the mayor actually is responsible presenting the budget, the full budget, and it's the council's responsibility to go through and offer amendments to change, and then certainly vote on it. So it wouldn't. I didn't foresee a case, at least the way it's structured now, that a member would ask for an amendment to add an item to the budget, that where there would be a perceived conflict of interest. But again, it would be within an amendment, not the actual development of the budget itself. We in our practice, we only consider amendments and then the final vote. So it wouldn't be a case where a council member would actually add an item, or I guess they could add an amendment, but that would be where the conflict might be. Yeah, it wouldn't actually be creating the budget.
Okay, that's I say okay because I don't really understand.
Yeah, but again, I think your willingness to provide the narrative to the council and entertain our opinions.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's very fair, and certainly appreciate the opportunity to do that.
Okay. All right. Next one. Question is: are elected officials barred from serving on the board of directors of a homeowners association? All right. And this is one where one thing would be we could decide they're not barred, but we will recommend an amendment to the ordinance that would bar them, or plainly decide, at least for ourselves, that there is no conflict of interest inherent in being on the board of directors of a homeowner association and being a member of the council.
I think there is an inherent conflict of interest, and especially given the interplay between those boards of directors and town council. And I don't think elected officials should be on those boards at all. I have a strong opinion about that.
I think there's an appearance of a conflict of interest.
Okay.
It's right, like then, how do you negotiate with yourself? It's if you're on the council and you come before the council to discuss issues about your community, you have no place being on a board of directors.
Okay, so we'd have to, and again, I don't want to vote on this today. If everyone would, over the next couple of days, look at the current ordinance and see where the current ordinance would bar it.
Okay.
What language, okay? And then if we conclude at the next meeting that if we conclude at the next meeting that it is barred, then we would issue an advisory opinion on it. If we conclude that it's not clearly barred, then we would adopt a recommendation to clarify or amend the current ordinance.
Yeah, but Phil, I think the issue is, you know, when you say barred, there's a word of appearance in there. And how do you define appearance? Okay. Yeah. And I think that's a judgment call of the commission. Okay. If you're saying, I think we have to go to the word appearance. And that's going to be a judgment call by Ingrid, you, and myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Phil, didn't we talk about this? Didn't you all talk about this and come to a conclusion previously that it was not clearly barred? And wasn't this in the context of Councilman
Morris?
Right. I know you all had this discussion before.
It was, unfortunately, it was in a closed session.
Okay.
And what we ended up doing was, it was on a complaint, and we asked the complaining party to identify the provisions that were violated or would be violated. And I guess that never happened, or anyway, somehow got dropped. So I'm pretty sure we've not made a decision.
Okay.
One way or the other. All right, well, let's everyone look at this over the next month or so until the next meeting. And then finally, is this question of, I don't have firsthand knowledge. This is one of the things where I'm relying on somebody reporting to me, that in fact, several of the restaurants employ several of the deputy sheriffs. And question, well, there's all sorts of questions. I'm not sure that deputy sheriffs are employed by Chesapeake Beach.
They are certainly not subject to the Chesapeake Beach ethics ordinance. They're subject to their own ethics ordinance under state law.
Or county.
Well, no, they're state officials.
I'm sorry, they work for the sheriff of Calvert County.
Who was a state official. Now they may be subject to the, they may be subject to the county ethics ordinance, but for some reason I think that they're subject to some state ethics ordinance. But either way, they're not subject to the town of Chesapeake Beach ethics ordinance.
Okay, yeah. So what I've drafted is a suggestion that we ask the sheriff to assign to this detachment only officers or deputies that are not employed by businesses within the Twin Beaches.
Phil, I think this should be a matter between the town that contracts with the sheriff, and this should be in the contractual agreement that they have. And it shouldn't be our role to negotiate this deal between them and the county sheriff.
Right, so that all we would do is suggest to the town that it determined that it makes a contract proposal to the sheriff that would accomplish this.
Correct. Well, I wouldn't make I'm making that judgment as far as whether they want to, that's their political judgment, whether they want to allow these sheriff's deputies to work in local businesses or not. That's, the mayor and town council.
All right, well, we can do nothing, or we can refer the issue to the mayor.
You could raise the issue to the mayor, say that it's come to your attention, but, as far as whether it's, an issue of an ethical issue, I don't want to make an opinion on that.
And I'm not sure if I'm getting the problem. I mean,
Well,
what's the issue? Fine, these guys are paid by the state, and they do some moonlighting in the same town that they work. Hey, who better than to hang out, and they kind of know some of the problem people, and they know the issues. What's wrong with this?
Well, because if there's all right, the town has some regulations and dealings with each of the restaurants. Let's take the resort just as a hypothetical question. I don't want my requests for protection to be second in the minds of the appropriate deputies to a request by the resort.
But aren't they doing this in their off hours, Phil?
Yeah, they're getting money.
But they're not on call anyway. Aren't they off? No. This is their personal time, right?
Yep. But I'm thinking, all right, I can be easily persuaded. It just seems to me that if I'm paying my taxes, the resort's paying its taxes, and the resort is also paying a couple $1,000s a month to various deputies, that the resort's going to get better police protection than I am.
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
No, I wouldn't either. I'm not sure that I want to subscribe that to the deputies. And I want to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, they're required to uphold the law. Doesn't matter where they are, or if they're working for Chesapeake Beach or working for the Rod and Reel, they're required to uphold the laws. And I think you're questioning their ethics because they're getting additional money. I don't think that's fair to the deputies.
All right. We'll see if over the next month or so I can think of better arguments.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what the practicality is. Part of it is these guys are the moonlighting because they need the money.
Right.
Right.
We don't, but it seemed to me if there's several hundred deputies in Calvert County, the sheriff can, it could be set up so that if you need to work at the Rod and Reel, you're assigned to a different detachment than the Twin Beaches. If you happen to be assigned to the Twin Beaches, then you do your moonlighting in Prince Fred.
So I guess here's a question. Do they have to report where they moonlight to the sheriff's office?
Yes.
They have
yes.
To.
If the sheriff's office is typical with the many police departments I've worked with and I'm familiar with, they have to seek permission.
Approval.
Secretary. Pardon?
Do they actually have to seek approval, Fred?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't know about this sheriff, but all the other departments I've worked with, they have to file an application saying I want to do secondary employment, and get approval for that, identifying the where, the wherefores, etc. And also, I know that most, if not all, police departments or law enforcement agencies have general orders regulating secondary employment. The rules or the procedures that the officers have to adhere to if they are going to engage in secondary employment, particularly secondary employment of a law enforcement nature.
Okay, so I mean, it appears that the sheriff's office has approved it and doesn't have a problem with these guys doing this moonlighting.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm not going to speak for this sheriff department,
right?
But that would be consistent with the way I'm familiar with it working elsewhere.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Let's say that either will be, nothing's going to be done today, including no letters or emails to the sheriff. either this will be dropped or we'll discuss it at the next meeting.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay, speaking of the next meeting, are we running into, there's a deadline for starting to review disclosures from candidates?
I think the deadline is 54 days. Isn't it 54 days from the start of the election?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
And doesn't that bring us into August?
I think it's September.
It's September.
Okay, all right, so we don't have to do anything in August. Let me get a calendar. Anyone has a problem with, let's say, the first week in August?
First week of August?
Yeah.
No. Like the 5th, Phil?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Like the 5th?
5th is a Saturday.
No, 5th of August is Wednesday.
Oh, August.
So what, 2 weeks from now?
Yeah.
Can we do the 12th or the 19th? Would it be?
I can't do the 12th.
I can't, yeah. The 19th, though, is okay with me.
Yeah.
19th is good with me.
Okay, 1 p.m.?
Yep, sounds good.
Unless, well, Sharon and Fred.
I'm available then.
Yeah, I'm
And
okay.
Okay.
I'm okay.
This week got a lot done. I really appreciate everybody's participation.
That sounds good. Appreciate
All
you
right,
all.
now we got comments by commissioners or members of the public. I don't hear any. Next thing is adjournment. All in favor of adjourning indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. And those opposed, no, the ayes have it. Okay. Talk to you guys later. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Fred,
you,
thanks,
Mr.
Sharon.
Favre.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, all.
Bye, Sharon.
Bye-bye.